My name is Jerami Brown, and I'm gay. When my mom decided to leave our church and to really kind of reevaluate her faith because of my decision to come out, it was a process for me. It was something that was a culmination of 21 years of internal questioning and searching. And for her, it was really kind of something that she had to come to terms with quite quickly. Whereas my decision to walk away from my faith was the product of a long time. I remember she called me and she said, you know, I went to church and they were talking about gay people in a negative way, and I just can't sit in the pew anymore and listen to somebody say that about someone that I love. And she made the decision to find a new church, somewhere that was open and accepting. That really made me feel loved. I grew up in Indiana, which is, you know, arguably one of the most conservative states in the country. And I grew up, and not only was I in a conservative state, but I was in a really conservative religion, the most fundamental sect of evangelical Christianity. I must have been no more than 10, 11 years old, and there was a man in the church who became HIV positive. He went before the church and had this story that it came from a blood transfusion. And even as a kid, I knew that that wasn't the whole story. I just knew that he was different. That this was a guy who was homosexual and couldn't live his truth and had to kind of make up lies and a cover story, and was genuinely fearful that his church family was going to cast him out. As a little kid, I watched the church take a vote on whether or not he was allowed to stay in the congregation. I think that from a very early age, there was something that went off inside of me that said that being different is not okay. You know, even though I didn't identify as gay at that time, I didn't know what that word meant, I knew that it wasn't okay to be other. And I knew that whatever it was that set me apart from the other boys, I needed to keep that to myself. I needed to make sure that it never got to a point where I would ever have to ask anybody's permission to stay with my friends and stay with my family. And it scared me. It definitely shaped my view of people around me. He ended up dying. It definitely scared me. I feel like I know that everybody meant well, but as a little kid, as you're watching that, and you know that it's not okay to be different. It was always instilled in me that what you do, your lifestyle choices, you know, God punishes you for things. So I was scared that that was going to be me. It wasn't until I was probably 17 or 18 when Will and Grace finally came on the air that I saw a gay man portrayed in a positive way. Once I saw that you could be successful, and you could have friends, and you could live in New York City, and you could have a good job. Being gay didn't mean that you were going to get AIDS and die, and you weren't going to lose your family, and you weren't going to be kicked out of your church. Like, once I saw that it was a viable option, it really changed the landscape for me. The most important thing that I would say to you is to be proud of who you are and to really relish in your otherness, to really appreciate your otherness and know that it's what makes you special. Especially after this recent loss in the election. On the left, I'm hearing a lot people blaming identity politics and trying to minimize the need of certain groups to really come out and say, as a blank, I feel this way. And as much as I understand that, I feel like you shouldn't lose who you are. We should really be proud of who we are, and we should know where we come from. I think the most important thing is to learn your history. Read a book about Stonewall. Watch a documentary about the Mattachine Society. Really find out where we came from, because when you're feeling scared, when you're not really sure of the next step to take, and when there's a lot of uncertainty hanging around, you need to know that you come from a long line of fighters, and that no matter what it looks like, it's inside of you. If our rights come under attack, and if our civil liberties are ever in danger, we have this thing inside of us that pushes us to fight. If we don't learn about our history and we don't read about these stories about the brave people that came before us, we're kind of doomed to, repeat the lessons of the past.